Hey, it is Kenny from Kenny's Audiophile Record Reviews. Thank you very much for my channel. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. That's right, like and subscribe. That would help me out. Um, in this video, I want to discuss this topic, and this topic is why do some non-audiophiles think the behavior and the way audiophiles conduct their audiophile lives is a little bit on the weird side, a little bit strange. Now, I'm not talking about strange like me sitting on a toilet with a turntable in my lap. I'm talking about other things. Um, but please leave your comments in the comment section below in terms of uh, behavior from audiophiles that you may think is strange, or is it just normal behavior? After all, there are other people in other hobbies like stamp collecting, coin collecting, Barbie doll collecting, so on, collecting Beanie Babies, whatever. They might think their world is a little bit on the weird side as well. But please leave your comments in the comment section below. Hopefully, this will be an interesting topic, interesting conversation, and more importantly, hopefully, an interesting video. I've had a conversation with my wife about these things a lot, and she, you know, she thinks some things a little bit on the unusual, strange, or weird side. And I'm gonna give you one right now. For example, one thing she mentioned is audiophiles buying the exact same record and CD over and over and over again, and she doesn't understand this quest or this trek to find the best sounding source of a certain album. She does not understand that and relate to that. And I don't think a lot of people do, actually. I think a lot of people are purely into the music, and they don't care necessarily about hearing it in its most highest fidelity. They simply do not care about that. They're into the joy and the pureness and the beauty of the music, and that's it. And you really can't blame people for that, because after all, that's what it's all about. So they cannot relate to buying all these different versions of the exact same record, and in some cases paying well over $100 to get to that point. They cannot relate to that at all. Another thing my wife expressed to me is, she told me, her question was, well, why do I have so many turntables? She can't relate to that. She's not an audiophile. I have one that I hope I'm going to use as a dedicated mono setup, and one as a stereo setup. I have a Riga P8 turntable with a stereo, a Feta 3 cartridge. I have a Technics SP15 turntable with an Audio-Technica AT33 mono cartridge. I'm going to update that mono cartridge sometime next year. But she doesn't understand that mentality of having multiple turntables. Matter of fact, I have a third one, a Revox, I think it's a B790 linear tracking turntable. That's not in my music room, at least not at the moment. And a lot of people can't understand to the extent in which audiophiles go in terms of spending money on their equipment, spending thousands of dollars, for a turntable. I show my or a digital source, a DAC, a CD player, SACD player, preamp, amp, all those things. They can't relate to spending all that money when they're listening on an inexpensive Bluetooth speaker that you get as low as $20, or they listen through the cable provider through their TV, or better yet, they listen to music on their cell phone or tablet or small digital device that's relatively inexpensive, and they're into the music. They can't understand the steps and the lengths we go to listen to the music, where they just listen to it in a real simple matter, and they joy in music just as much as we do. So they cannot relate to that. I showed my wife the cost of a cartridge, because I'm going to buy a cartridge the next couple of months. And I showed her this cartridge that costs $12,000. I'm not spending $12,000 on a cartridge. I'll probably spend like $1,200, but maybe $1,300. But I showed her one that cost, I think it was like $12,000 or $13,000, and she thought that was absolutely insane that somebody would spend that much money on what she describes as basically a needle, the cartridge. non-audiophiles cannot relate to that world. They cannot relate to the world of buying all this expensive equipment. They cannot relate to this world of, for example, I have 7,000 records. I have some of my viewers who viewed my video say, that's quite unusual. Isn't like 100 records good enough? Isn't 200 records good enough? A lot of people cannot relate, non-audiophiles cannot relate to having so many records, because they say there's no way you could listen to all these records during your lifetime. And they're probably right. I just like having the choice and the those options available. So they cannot relate to having all these records. Another thing they cannot relate to is having records in the first place. In this modern era when people listen to music via digital methods, whether streaming, or whatever, downloads, they cannot relate to having CDs, and they cannot relate to having records at all. They think they're old and outdated and old-fashioned. They cannot relate to that at all. And they think that's quite unusual. I have some notes here as well. But like I said, buying the same record over and over and over again does not make sense to a lot of people. And the somewhat nerd-like tendencies that some non-audiophiles think we have, like worried or be concerned about who the mastering engineer was, so whether it's Bernie Grundman, Ryan K. Smith, Kevin Gray. They're like, what does that matter? They were saying when we were little kids buying records, or teenagers buying records, early teens buying records, late teens buying records, let's say in the 70s, 60s, we were not concerned, or non-audiophiles, and even some audiophiles were not concerned who was a mastering engineer. Where was it mastered at? What mastering plant? They were not concerned about that. So a non-audiophile looking at the audiophile world from the outside looking in, they cannot, they don't understand those tendencies at all. They think it's weird that we were concerned about mastering engineers. They think it's weird that we're concerned about pressing plants. They think it's weird that we look up the numbers etched or punched or stamped in the dead wax and trying to determine what is the best pressing. They think that's odd and weird. And a lot of people who are non-audiophiles don't even know what the dead wax area is to begin with. But the ones who do think it's weird that we're going to look up and try and determine or decipher what is the best sounding record based on what is etched or stamped in the dead wax, when what really matters is the music. They're just into the purity and joy of the music, so they cannot relate to that. Another is some of the verbiage and terms that audiophiles use. I think a lot of non-audiophiles think it's weird the way we describe music. Non-audiophiles will say, it's like it either sounds good or it doesn't. Either it sounds good or it doesn't. Either vibe into it or they're not. Audiophiles use, and I see these in these videos, heck, I use it myself too. It sounds warm. Oh, they took something off the top end. They took something off the bottom end. They use those type of that type of language, those type of descriptions. And a lot of non-audiophiles will say, either I like the song or I don't. Forget about all that other silly madness about top end, low end, whether it's warm. Either I like the song or I don't. If you ask a teenager, somebody in their early 20s, do you like the song and why? Most likely they're not going to mention the top end, the low end, whether it's warm. Now, some people in the younger generation might groove and get into something with heavy bass. A lot of young people like that. They like the pounding of the bass, but barring that, a lot of non-audiophiles are not into things that way. And also the way we care for records is a little bit weird to non-audiophiles, I believe. I mean, the extent we go to spend hundreds, and not thousands of dollars just to clean records. A lot of non-audiophiles simply cannot relate to that. And also the way we take care of our records. You know how audiophiles, they'll take the record out of the record sleeve, put it in an audiophile sleeve, and store it in the back of the outside of the record cover, and put a sleeve over both of them. A lot of non-audiophiles can't relate to that. A lot of audiophiles treat their records as if they're being saved for the National Archives or the Library of Congress or some museum. They take some of these audiophiles. I think a lot of non-audiophiles think they take care of their records better than they take care of their spouse or their car or their house. And a lot of non-audiophiles think that's ridiculous. But I think a lot of other people in a lot of other hobbies do the exact same thing. The non-audiophiles who are bagging on audiophiles for doing those things or going to those extents, they probably do the same things in their hobbies. Like I said, whether stamp collecting, coin collecting, Barbie doll collecting, collecting Hot Wheels, Beanie Babies, whatever it may be, taking care of their vintage car, in the garage. A lot of these guys and women probably take better care of those cars and give those cars more attention than they give their spouses. So I think a lot of other people in other hobbies do the same thing. I will say this, and this is a comment about my wife. She allows me the time and the space to pursue this hobby with zero interference. She's never really said, Kenny, why are you spending all that money on this and that? She's never really said that. She never said that. She's given me the time and space for me to be me in my own way. And she realizes, like I do, you have to be happy with yourself. You have to be happy and satisfied with yourself before you even attempt to give love and joy to somebody else. So she allows me this time and space. She realizes the joy it gives me, and she lets me just be me, and she gets out of the way. And I allow her the same thing, whatever hobbies and joy and interests she's into. And I'm very grateful that she gives me this time and space and allows me to be weird in my own way in this pursuit of being an audiophile. And I really, really appreciate that. And that really aids my enjoyment of this beautiful hobby, knowing that I have a supportive spouse who lets me pursue this hobby. As all you know, this is my secondary hobby, or my secondary interest. I'm a bigger sports fan than being an audiophile. If I have to choose one to give up, not watch any sports, or this audiophile world, I give this up in a second, because I love sports better. But this means the world to me. It really does. And I just thank my wife for allowing me to exist in this space, in this world, with all you out there who support my channel and all you out there who are audiophiles and record collectors. I really appreciate it. But anyway, please leave your comments in the comment section below in terms of what you think is weird, whether it's having a lot of records, buying the same record over and over again, spending a lot of money on equipment, constantly upgrading equipment, paying thousands of dollars for phono cartridges, or even some people think that, these YouTube channels where there's several people talking at the same time, these group chats on YouTube. A lot of non-audiophiles think that's weird. Them being on there talking about audiophile stuff. They think that's a little bit foreign and weird. But they do that in other aspects of life. They do it in sports. They do it in music. They do it in other hobbies. They do the exact same thing. So we're probably not all that different from anybody else. But at least from a musical standpoint, and a lot of people think we are. They think that, hey, just as long as the music sounds good, that's all that matters. And a non-audiophile thinks that, why spend all that money where it can be done cheaply and very inexpensively, using a small Bluetooth device, a $20 speaker, your cell phone, an inexpensive streaming device. So I can understand to some degree why they think this world we live in is a little bit strange and weird. But please leave your comments in the comments section below if you think a lot of audiophiles a little bit strange and weird, and why. If not, leave that comment as well. We're probably no different than anybody else, perhaps. We'll see in the comment section below. Please keep the peace worldwide. This world needs it more than ever. We need love, peace, and understanding throughout the world. Not only domestically, but throughout the world. We have to love each other, get along, and just keep the peace. Please deal with everybody with love and peace and respect, and this world will be a super cool place. But Please leave your comments in the comments section below. Thank you very much for viewing my video. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. God bless. Strong love, and keep the peace worldwide, please.